On the day of March 10, 2018, 16 8th grade SS students left the school and home to arrive in an unfamiliar land called Xizhou for 28 days to explore a topic they chose, to explore the place of Xizhou, and most importantly, to explore themselves. I chose tea. I studied tea because I have always wanted to know more about my country's drink, especially in the province that is known for its tea production, Yunnan. When in Xizhou, there were a couple of main questions I wanted to answer before I go back. Those questions included: how does tea go from leaf to drink? How are the tools of boiling tea used? And what are the 功效 of pu'er and dianhong? After answering these questions, I made a thesis for my final product. To understand the basics of tea, one might consider the production/picking of tea, the 功效 or health benefits, and the boiling/tools of boiling tea. The first basic is the production and picking of tea. The three teas I'll talk about in this category and in the video is pu'er sheng, pu'er shou, and dianhong. Ms. He of Dama Chazhuang taught me that there are two types of trees, qiaomu and guanmu. Qiaomu is tall, must be over 80 years old, and its leaves can be brewed around 20 to 30 times. Guanmu is short, young, and its leaves can only be brewed around 5 times, making qiaomu much more expensive. Pu'er only comes from qiaomu, while dianhong can come from both types of trees. Thus, qiaomu is more expensive. However, as Mr. Muzili said, although qiaomu is expensive compared to guanmu, because qiaomu is tall, strong, and already old, they'll grow naturally without pesticides or fertilizers. Guanmu uses massive amounts of pesticides and fertilizers to grow many of them fast. Therefore, I prefer qiaomu because it's much more eco-friendly. To produce sheng pu'er, as Ms. He said, it must be baked in the sun, dried, rubbed, and after drying, packaged. Shou pu'er is fermented every few hours. It gets scrambled so that all the leaves can reach the air. This continues until the leaves are fully fermented, which is measured by a machine. It takes around 3 to 6 months to do. A gauze then wraps around the tea, which is then steamed and pressed into shape to be packaged and sold. Dianhong is fermented to half and fried. Ms. He also taught me 4 packages: san, zhuan, tuo, and bing. Each bing is 357 grams. It is 357 grams because merchants calculated how much a horse can hold, so they packaged their cakes to be 7 liang, or 357 grams, which made me see the importance of transporting as much tea as possible. For tuo, a guy named Yang Zizheng in Xizhou invented it, and his family became the richest because it was so popular. It isn't practical at all, with a weird shape and weight, meaning that people sometimes value looks over practical uses, which was interesting to me. The brick is the best at packaging together, and the separated is the easiest to make. The second basic 功效 is the health benefits of tea. The health benefits of different teas can be different, but all teas have a 功效. The 功效 of pu'er sheng, as Ms. Wang Jinghua said, a worker at Dama Chazhuang, is to get rid of fat and to energize. The power to get rid of fat comes from chajian, so if you are a bit tired or a bit heavier than you want, then drink sheng. Warning, however, the process for sheng tea to get rid of fat could cause harm to anyone with a weak stomach and may cause diarrhea. This really showed me that although tea has many benefits, it might also be extremely harmful too. Pu'er shou, unlike sheng, is good for the stomach because by going through fermentation, lost all of its chajian and has much less caffeine than sheng, as shou is much older and lost all of its caffeine from its age. Both sheng and shou has the ability to lower blood pressure and cholesterol, so if you need caffeine and want to lose weight, drink sheng tea, but if you have a weak stomach and you don't want to stay awake until 3 at midnight, drink shou. Dianhong helps warm the stomach, helps the stomach to digest, and helps with metabolism, so if you really want to look young and protect yourself from the sheng pu'er you drank a few hours ago, drink dianhong. I personally prefer shou tea because I always had a weak stomach when I was young, and because I don't really need to get rid of weight as I'm already very light. This information taught me the powers and benefits of tea, and also the repercussions tea sometimes have. These are only 3 teas out of the hundreds of teas in the world, which only makes me even more interested in tea. The final basic is the boiling/tools of boiling tea. To boil both pu'er and dianhong, you require many tools, cups, and steps to complete, so I will be simplifying the process of boiling tea for you. Before we start, I want you to understand you don't need all these tools to actually boil the tea. As you'll see in the video where I boil the tea, none of the 5 tools I'll be talking about will be used. Let's continue. First, to boil pu'er, you require 100 degrees, while dianhong needs around 85 to 90 degrees. We must start with taking out the tea. While this is easy for separated tea leaves, for tea bricks or cakes, you need to have a tea cone, a chazhui, to break the tea apart from the solid structure of tea. Moving on, as Ms. Wang Jie taught me, you need to put the tea onto a teaspoon, a chashi, which is used to measure the amount of tea used. Then you dump the pu'er onto a ceramic cup called the cover bowl, gaiwan, and add the boiling water to start making tea. Only professionals use the gaiwan, while other people use normal kettles, as it is harder to dump water with a gaiwan than a normal kettle, which makes me wonder, how many people actually know that you need a gaiwan instead of a normal kettle? We then dump the tea into a gongdao bei, a fair cup, through a filter, guoli, to use to pour the tea to the drinkers. A purple sand kettle is usually used as it is very breathable and heat resistant. It is also known to make the tea taste better. We might also have to use a tea needle, a chajang, to unclog the tea kettle. The fair cup is called so because it fairly dumps the same amount of tea for everyone. We proceed to then dump the tea over the drinking cups to wash it. We then dump the excess water out and repeat the process, where we drink the tea this time. All these steps must be quiet, and as a result, makes the tea ceremony a very peaceful act. In conclusion, I covered over the 3 topics: the production and picking of tea, the 功效 of tea, tea boiling, and the tools of tea boiling. After researching these 3 topics, I've learned many things from this trip. I've learned not only the basics of tea, but how to be responsible for myself, and most importantly, that meeting new people is not as bad as I thought it was. I have met many tea shop owners along the way and have learned what kind of person they are. So I would like to thank Mr. Wang, Ms. Yang, Ms. He, Mr. Li, Ms. Wang, Mr. Yixiu, Ms. Zhao, Mr. Mu Zili, Ms. Wang Jinghua, Ms. Wang Jiejie, and Mr. Wang number 2. If any other future microcampus students come to Xizhou to study tea, I would like you to take my information and expand to new directions.